Hello everyone, my name is Bella. This is literally nonsense, and today we are going to talk about the best tools for writing fantasy. So Bella, you ask, why tools? What are those tools? What does tools do? Okay, so what are those tools? Okay, so these are some tools that I usually use for writing, some that I don't use, but I pick up some alternatives to some that can be quite pricey or even, cannot adequate to the type of writing that you do. Okay, so most of the things that I'm going to show here, the softwares, apps, and websites, they can be for any kind of fiction writing, okay, but I recommend them most for fantasy because a lot of them are very good for world building and magic systems. But okay, so let's go see them. Okay, so the first part of the video is about plotting and planning. There are two types of writers for fiction, and the first one is a non-plotter, the second one is a plotter. So the non-plotter is the kind of writer who just goes to the notebook, and start typing, and the things just go and flow and happen. But the plotters are the people who are, always planning before making a book, and they plan a lot. On my past video, I said that I took 10 years to write a book. Actually, I've been saying 10 years for a long time, and it was actually 13, but whatever. I took 13 years to write my first fantasy book, and boy, there was a lot of plotting, and this whole time I wasn't actually writing, on my computer. I was actually, world building, creating languages and cultures and kingdoms, and magic systems. So actually, yeah, if you want a complex, a complex world of fantasy, plotting it's very good way to get it. It's not wrong to not plot. It's just two different types of, writing. Okay, if you want some examples, you can see this obviously happen, for example, in A Court of Thorns and Roses. You can see that clearly, Sarah J. Maas think everything through, but she think everything through as she's writing. For me, at least, it's very obvious. And we also have our dear J.R.R. Tolkien. He is a plotter. This guy took, ages to write a book. Okay, so or the one that everyone likes to make fun of is George R.R. Martin. He takes so much time to actually publish a book, and that's because he's a huge plotter. He is the plotter of the plotters, okay? But moving on to what we're here to talk about. So the first software that we want to talk about, it's, guess what? Plotter. Yeah, exactly. So Plotter is this software that I use. When I say I use it, because it's my favorite and I will cling to it. And the thing about Plotter is that it's the perfect way of, creating unique features of your book, like the world building, or especially timeline. I think timeline is the most strong point that we have on Plotter, but there's way more features than just that. Navigating a little on the interface of Flutter, you can see there's a lot of source planning, timelining, and character personalized sheets, space to consult your places created, and many more. And I love Flutter because it's very focused on story. There is a lot of other apps and websites that I'm going to talk about here that they focus on more on character or world building, and in the case of Flutter, it's a lot about the story. Their timelines is the best feature that they have. They have multiple timelines that you can connect one to another, and they can happen at the same time. I also love very much the character building part of Flutter because you can make sheets that are, customizable. It's kind of, they're not ready. Oh, what is the color of your character? What is the color of the eyes of the character? what is the fear of your character, what is the I don't know what of your character, you know. You can decide what you want, so you can just create the lines, create the lacunes, so you can keep filling them. However, Plotter can be a little pricey, and it's not the best software for world building. So if you want, you know, another options, we have World Anvil, Campfire, and Loreforge. They're all very different. They all have free versions of themselves and options for you to buy. So World Anvil is very focused on world building and also character building a little, but it's not as customizable as Plotter can be. Although I think you can pay the websites for customize it. I never paid it. I always use the free version. But the World Anvil, it's very focused on that because it was actually made for RPG games. So yeah, there are going to be a lot of things that you don't need there. And it can be a little confusing sometimes, you know. I already got lost on the website, but it's really good, especially for world building. You know, if you want to build a complete world, the way I just said, you know, when I was writing the chessboard project, I was actually very concentrated on things like culture of the kingdoms, you know, and you know, languages. I created new languages, and those things are very religion, especially. All of those things are very easy to navigate on the World Anvil because they have prompts that you can use for that. So don't worry if you're just like, oh my god, I can't think, what do I have to think of when I'm creating a religion? And you can go to a World Anvil because they have some prompts that can help you, okay? And they will tell you what you have to think about. Now, Campfire is a little more focused on the actual writing. I don't know if I can explain that very well, but the thing is, Campfire also have character sheets and world building and the timeline, just like Plotter. It's actually very similar to Plotter. The difference is everything comes to writing. There's a free version, like I said. There is a paid version of Campfire, but the free version you are very limited, so you cannot create as much characters as you want. You cannot create as many places as you want. Okay, so the only thing that is, you know, out there is the timelines, and I think the timelines of Campfire are complex. Like, you can, instead of creating multiple timelines that can connect themselves, you can create, you know, branches of timelines, and that's why it can be a little more complex, which is really cool. But it's totally focused on the writing and focused on, you know, the little page that it's in blank and it is for you to write. So if you're not too much into plotting, maybe the Campfire can be a good option for you. Now, Loreforge, on the other hand, it's more focused on the world building and timelining. Again, just like Campfire, their timelining, it's like, in my opinion, the most complex of all of those that I just said. And because honestly, I didn't understand until today how to actually you know, play with those timelines from Loreforge. But you know, if you are a crazy timeliner, a crazy plotter, this is amazing for you. You're gonna love it. I think that is very important on Loreforge, you know, just like the name saying, Loreforge is the world building. That's because of the culture. They are very focused on that, on creating a culture for your worlds, you know, and creating the peculiarities that they have. So if you want to focus on you know, world building and a crazy timeline, that Loreforge is amazing for you. And the free version is actually very complete. I used it for a long time, like about 6 months, I think. I made a whole new project that it's not chessboard project, and I really love it. However, I still too much clinging into Plotter to use another one. Okay, so the second part of our video is tracking. And tracking is about, having some motivation when you're writing, while you put the things on the paper. If you're not a plotter, you probably start with this part. So, here we go. Here is a little story of tracking between the contemporary forum of writers. And we cannot talk about tracking without talking a little about gossip over NaNoWriMo. If you don't know NaNoWriMo, it was the National Novel Writing Month, and it was a challenge that happened every November that the writers could join and try to finish their novels and write 5,000 words in 1 month. NaNoWriMo used to be so fun. They have camps during the year that you could choose what was your goal. It didn't have to be 50,000 like it is in November. They usually would happen in April or July, I guess. I've been part of some of them. I've been part of I think 4 NaNoWriMos in November, and I've been part of 3 campaigns of them. Everything were online, obviously, but there was so much fun and so much resources that we could get. Some of the softwares that I use into today, I only have because of NaNoWriMo. Actually, I use Scrivener, and I'm going to talk about that on the ending of the video. I got like 7% off because I wanted, and it was really cool because besides those little winning prizes, there's a lot of community, and you could find people that were writing things that were similar to what you were writing, or just people who were similar to you and were also writing. So I really loved my time in NaNoWriMo. However, here we go to the gossip. NaNoWriMo was boycotted, I think at the beginning of this year or the ending of last year, I don't remember exactly. And boy, it was ugly. And the thing about NaNoWriMo is that they posted on their own website a post endorsing AI uses for writing. Yes, exactly. It's really sad, actually. I got really disappointed when that happened. And well, now NaNoWriMo is closing due to this boycott, because all of these famous writers and also people who were really engaged with the community started to just delete their accounts and stop using NaNoWriMo, me included, and it went down. NaNoWriMo was a non-profitable organization, so they depend solely on donations, and with this whole thing, people stopped donating. So yeah, that's how NaNoWriMo went down. Actually, the website is still active. I don't know when is it going to permanently end, but they are giving some time to the writers to retrieve the writing resources and things that they deposit on the website. Well, since I am here actually to give you some new stuff to use, I need to say there is a few alternatives for NaNoWriMo. Some of them are new and they just show up because NaNoWriMo is not here anymore, and some of them are really old but they finally have their moments to shine because NaNoWriMo is not here anymore. Okay, so I didn't find a website that had all of the features that NaNoWriMo had, but I found separate websites that have separately each of the features from NaNoWriMo. And I think that the two most important things about substituting the NaNoWriMo is that it needs community and it needs tracking. Okay, so the tracking that I'm talking about, it's the challenge that NaNoWriMo used to have. Okay, so there was like those challenges of 5,000 words a month, and there was this whole beautiful tracking page that it would track your project. You could just go there and put the amount of words that you have done that day, and there were like this personalized stats that would come to you, so if you are doing well or if you're falling behind. And you can also put any other goal that you want to do through the year. So yeah, it was really cool, this whole tracking part. I'm going to get there, but first one that I wanted to talk about is that if you're looking for a community, Shut Up and Write is the best one to do it. Why? Because, well, it's not online. So shut up and write is something that I don't like very much because I can get out of my house very much. So and there's also not much communities in Brazil yet. But if you are in Europe, United States, or Canada, I think there's some places in Asia that already have some communities too. Shut Up and Write have these groups that can find themselves, in person and talk about writing, help one another, and keep each other motivated to write. But if you're looking for a place to have an online community and also resources, the place for you is Inoku and Story a Day. So Story a Day brings us monthly challenges. This okay. I need to give a little piece of advice here. It is good. It is really good, but it depends on the way that you write. Okay, so for example, I can never just plan my book on months because that would make me absolutely crazy. Because I just I have months when I just get this draw, and I cannot write anything, and I have these months when I just write way too much, and then I have to spend a few times revising because I wrote too many fast things and some of them are not good. So I'm just advising here you in your style, but if you can plan what you're going to write and write it perfectly every month the way that you planned, do it. Story a Day is perfect for you. Okay, so No Q was the one that I find most approximately to NaNoWriMo as far as research. The main part about No Q is the personalized challenge and also the 5K challenge in November, just like NaNoWriMo used to do. And also they are going to add tracking. They didn't have one. I think they don't have one, but they will add a tracking, which make it more personally to NaNoWriMo. So if you are, really missing NaNoWriMo, that's the one. And now the one that I chose to be an alternate to NaNoWriMo was the My Write Club. I chose this one specifically because I was getting a little tired of online community for writing. I think at some point you do need to find yourself alone to write because too many people talking over your writing, it's overwhelming, and I was kind of struggling a little with that. So I decided that with the end of NaNoWriMo I will put a pause on online writing. So I find My Write Club where it's just tracking. You can track collectively, like you can get a bunch of people and you can see the tracking of one another, which is pretty cool. You can do sprints, and I also like the way that it is simple. The website is completely simple, and it's the tracking and the button of share and the option of sprinting, and that's it. That's the website. I love it because it's not distracting. Something that I would often do when I was using NaNoWriMo is that there was so much features on the tracking page that I would stop writing and trying to understand how much I wrote the month instead of actually writing. So yeah, that helps a little. And now for the third part, let's finally talk about writing and revision. I will not lie saying I used a lot of those that I'm going to talk about. Like I spent a whole book writing on it, or at least a short story or something, because I used a little of the free trials of each one of those that I'm going to talk about right now, and then I immediately fall in love for Scrivener. I just love Scrivener. It was I told before that I won 70% off on Scrivener when I won the NaNoWriMo challenge, and boy, it was all I wanted. I was so happy because during this NaNoWriMo that I won, it was my first time seeing all the softwares and things that I could use that I didn't know I could help me write my book, and I didn't know them very well. So I saw there was like this winning page where they would say the options for the winners, and there was a lot of those softwares, and I tried the free trial of all of them, but then I Scrivener was the love at first sight. So what I love most about Scrivener is that you can enter the world of writing. Okay, so the first thing that I did when I first downloaded my Scrivener was to personalize my whole window. So I think may sound kind of silly, but you can change the wallpaper of your editor, and you can leave everything in the colors of your book, so I think this is very important because you're really there, you're in the world of your book, and it helps you keep concentrated on what you're doing, not like Word. Another thing that I love about Scrivener is the organization in the corkboards. Okay, so here's the thing. When I first started writing books, I was like 7, and I decided to write them on hand, and it was a total mess because I would just take things out of place, and then I wanted to change them, but I couldn't because I wrote on pen instead of pencil. I was a kid, but ever since I did that, unfortunately I created this whole thing where I just decided that I wanted to change everything, and I changed things out of the place, the order the things happen. I do that a lot, and Scrivener is amazing for that because they just have this separate folders for each of the chapters, and they are really good with formatting. You can just configure everything and write because it's going to be all done when you finish writing. They format everything into manuscript or a EPUB if you're going to publish independently. Also, we have the corkboards. They are amazing because you can do a corkboard for each of the chapters or a corkboard for each of the parts. You can choose. So every time you create a folder or a subfolder, it creates a new corkboard, and you can make this little post-its that you can, I use them for aligning, but you can use them for whatever you want to, and I think they are very practical, and also it avoids being a little too confused with your own writing. Now, if you're writing through an iPad or tablet, I have just a solution for you. I do believe there is Scrivener for tablets, but honestly, it's hard to use on the tablet. What I can say to you is Ulysses, okay? So this is a very practical and minimalist app that's going to help you to write on your iPad. It's a little more complete than other just note apps. Like, for example, they have an organization that is very similar to Scrivener, so you can change your chapters, you can organize them into folders. They just don't have all of the other things that Scrivener have, like the character pages or anything like that, the places, and the research page. Okay, I love Scrivener. Okay, but it's quite complete considering that it's in a a smaller screen, that it's harder to use when you are writing, and you need too much stuff. And now let's talk about revision. Okay, so there is a few contradictions there because AI is everywhere now. Okay, so we just talked about how NaNoWriMo lost everything because of AI, and well, unfortunately I'm gonna have to talk about 2 things that have AI right now, but however, if you want to feel a little better, they are not going to write anything for you. They're not going to do anything creative. They're going to pick, dictionaries and techniques for writing and tell you, give you advice, basically. So the first one is the Hemingway editor, and it's actually really cool because they give you a feedback as if they were a publishing house or agent, so it's a little pricey, but I saw a lot of people saying that it's so worth it. And yes, they use AI for reading your book and saying what you can do better, which I don't like very much, but it's a good option for anyone who wants simplicity on their feedbacks. Now, Why did I say about simplicities when I talked about the Hemingway? Okay, so the thing is, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Pro Writing Aid. Oh, I love this. It's amazing. Honestly, it's so complete and I am appalled. They have a free version that I didn't know they had. I discovered it while I was researching for this video, and I'm so happy about it because now I'm using it, all the way. Of course, there's a lot of limitations, like 500 words, words a day, and the other features also have a lot of limitations. Besides grammar, the Pro Writing Aid also gives a little look on your Latin flow and character development and terminology, and well, there's so many other things that sometimes you get, a feedback from Pro Writing Aid, and I'm just like, wait, is that a thing? Like the glue phrases, and it's really cool because it's also analyze your style, and well, there's so much more about it. Also, they also have a beta reader that it's online now, so if you don't have anyone that can beta read for you, you can pay for someone on Pro Writing Aid and they beta read and give you a feedback. Now, as a bonus, I really want to talk about something that, even though I'm not paid for saying that, is the best tools ever. It is Notion, and is for organizing your writing and routine and everything. I've been using Notion for my whole life stuff ever since I started college, and I have a Notion page for my college, for work, for writing, and for health, and for literally every single part of my life has Notion page. And it's Notion is really cool because it's not just calendars, there's also chronograms and to-do lists, and you can personalize everything to look like you. And I'm going to take the little thread that we are using here and say that I have templates for Notion right here on my description. You can take a look if you want to. They are for writing. I intend to put more on site, but for now we only have one. Well, this was today's video. I had so much fun talking about tools for writing with you, and don't forget to subscribe, give a like, and if you have any questions about the tools, you can write down on the comments. I will try to respond them because I'm really bad at this. But you can also see the links in my description, like my socials, my Goodreads. See you next Wednesday. Bye bye.